One of the asinine, and I do find it asinine, things that people say all the time is why did we go to Iraq? Why didn't we attack Iran? Why did we go to Iraq? Why didn't we attack
Pakistan? Yeah, that's an interesting question. Why did we go to Iraq? I was going to ask you.
Because, again, you can argue back and forth about the Iraq War, but the consensus of every intelligence service in the world was that they were developing weapons of mass destruction.
But they weren't.
Okay, they weren't. The intelligence services were wrong. And the Iraq War, there's no question, the Iraq War was based on faulty intelligence.
But there was no evidence that they were going to attack us.
Iraq had attacked its neighbors.
Right. But they haven't attacked us. That's quite different.
Okay. Iraq was the only nation after September 11th. The only one.
They attack weak nations who they can have a chance to beat, but Saddam Hussein got whipped and bombed, and we shot down his planes for 20. We had a no-fly zone. He never did anything to the United States. He was afraid of the United States. He's a bully.
Okay.
Right? Would you agree?
I'm sorry. No, I would not agree that he was afraid of the United States.
No?
No, I would not agree.
He never attacked the United States.
Were you afraid of the United States? Why didn't he simply say, "Come into my country"? Take a look.
He wanted to pretend that he had these nuclear weapons because he thought he'd be safer by pretending, and he's boasting that he has these weapons. And
I think it's hard to say that somebody who lost his life based on it was afraid of the United States. Were he afraid of the United States, sir, he would clearly have behaved differently. I have limited time.
If a country...
I really have limited time. Just 3 more minutes.
This question. Okay.
3 more minutes.
Okay. If a country has weapons of mass destruction and has abused its people and attacked its neighbor, should we go to war with that country?
No.
Okay, so that's what happened in Iraq.
No, Iraq was a nation that was in violation of its treaty agreements. It was in violation of UN resolutions. And the point about, and again, arguing about the Iraq War and whether it was a net plus, whether we should have gone to the war, whether it was a mistake for us to go to the war, is frankly not particularly relevant. It doesn't seem to me.
I was asking about the principle. I'm trying to find out, because national interest is a very vague, broad term. It could apply to this or not. I was trying to specify it,
and that's precisely why.
And determine exactly what you mean by national interest.
It is appropriate that we had a very lengthy congressional discussion and debate, and a split vote. But in that vote, 74 members of the Senate, ultimately, and about 2/3 of the members of the House voted to authorize war in Iraq.
That's true, and does that make it right? Because
no, it doesn't make it right, but it makes it legal.
Legal it was, certainly.
It certainly was.
Maybe, I mean, it would have been better if there had been a declaration of war. Don't you agree that it followed the Constitution?
Absolutely not. And again, this is again for people who have no knowledge of constitutional history, as Dr. Paul apparently does not. And
it says in the Constitution that the Congress shall declare, shall have the power to declare war.
Correct. And the history of that language is that James Madison, the original wording was Congress shall have the power to make war. Madison changed the language given the fact that there were cases in which, and we've had 140 undeclared wars in our history.